Do you know the proper way to use the sign not in an ASL sentence? Let me show you how. The sign not is commonly used before the verb or at the end of the sentence. Let me show you a few examples. Here's the first example. Using the format subject, verb, object. Here's the sentence. I need an education. Now let's break this sentence down. Now the subject is going to be I. Now need is going to be the verb. That's important because this is going to determine where I place the sign not. And then education is the object. So let's start by signing it before the verb. So I would say, I not need education, and then I refer back to myself, I. Let's do this again. I not need education, and I refer right back to myself, I. Now let's try it at the end of the sentence. I need education, not, and then I refer back to myself, I. Let's do this one more time. I need education, not, and I refer back to myself, I. And so if I were to interpret this, I would just say, I don't need an education, or I would say, I do not need an education. Here's another example. Now let's stick with the format subject, verb, object. Here's the sentence. I know the teacher. Now let's quickly break this down. The subject is I, the verb is know, and teacher is going to be the object. So when I sign this, let's start by doing it before the verb. So I would sign I, not know, teacher, and then I refer right back to myself. Let me show you again. I, not, the verb know, teacher, and then I refer right back to myself. So I just showed you how to do it before the verb. Now let's do it at the end of the sentence. I know teacher, not, and then I refer right back to myself. Let's do this again. I, the verb know, teacher, not, and then I refer right back to myself. So I just showed you before the verb and at the end of the sentence. Either way is fine. Okay, here's another example. Sticking with the format subject, verb, object, and we're going to continue with the same. We're going to sign it before the verb, and then we will sign it at the end of the sentence. So here's the sentence. She has a cat. Let's break this down. The subject is she, have is the verb, and we know cat is going to be the object. So when I sign that, signing it before the verb, I'd say first, woman, she, or if she's standing right there, I can just point right to her, she, not, have, cat. And then I point right back to the subject, she. Let's sign this again. Woman, she, not, have, cat, she. Now let's do it at the end of the sentence. Woman, she, or if she's standing right here, she, have, cat, not, and I point right back to the subject, she. Let's do this one more time. Woman, she, have, cat, not, and I point right back to the subject, she. Now I showed you before the verb, and now I've showed you at the end of the sentence. Either way is fine. In this video, I've showed you several ways on how to use the sign not. You use it either before the verb or at the end of the sentence. If you've learned anything from this video, please do me the honor of hitting the like button. Next, hit the subscribe button. And last but not least, hit the notification button and stay tuned for my next ASL video.